and to make sure we can sustain all these efforts. We want a future where we're building an architecture of institutions and relationships. For America, that always begins with our alliances, which serve as the cornerstone of our approach to the world. But we also want to work with organizations like ASEAN and in forums like APEC and the East Asia Summit to resolve disputes and forge new partnerships. And we want to cooperate with our old allies and our emerging partners, and with China. We want to see a peaceful rise for China. Because we think it can and should contribute to the stability and prosperity that we all seek. So that's the shared future I want to see in the Asia Pacific. Now, America cannot impose that future. It's one we need to build together, in partnership. With all the nations and peoples of the region, especially young people. That vision is within our reach if we're willing to work for it. Now, this world has its share of threats and challenges, and that's usually what makes the news. We know that progress can always be reversed. And that positive change is achieved not through passion alone, but through patient and persistent effort. But we've seen things change for the better in this region and around the world because of the effort of ordinary people. Together, working together. It's possible. We've seen. It in the opportunity and progress that's been unleashed in this amazing part of the world. I've only been in Malaysia for a day, but I've already picked up a new phrase, Malaysia Boleh. And now I want to hear directly from you. I want to hear your aspirations for your own lives. Your hopes for your communities and your culture, what you think we can do together in the years to come. Terima kasih banyak. Moderator Anita Wu, thank you very much, Mr. President. If you may. President Obama, well, I'm going to take the first question. And then I think Anita is going to take a question from social media. This is tough because we have so many outstanding young people. I'll call on this young lady right here, right in the front. Tell me your name. If you're going to school, tell me what level you're at, what year you are in school, and where you're from. Question. President Obama, well, it's a short question but it's not a simple one. But around the age of 20, I began to realize that I could have an impact on the world if I applied myself more. I became interested in social policy and government. And I decided that I wanted to work in the nonprofit sector for people who are disadvantaged in the United States. And so I was able to do that for 3 years after I graduated from college. That's how I moved to the city of Chicago. I was hired by a group of churches to work in poor areas to help people. Get jobs and help improve housing and give young people more opportunity. And that was a great experience for me, and it led me to go to law school and to practice civil rights laws. and then ultimately to run for elected office. And when I think back to my journey, my past, I think the most important thing and maybe the most important thing for all the young people here is to realize that you really can have an impact on the world. You can achieve your dreams. But in order to do so, you have to focus not so much on a title or how much money you're going to make. You have to focus more on what kind of influence and impact are you going to have on other people's lives? What good can you do in the world? Now, that may involve starting a business. But if you want to start a business, you should be really excited about the product or the service that you're making. It shouldn't just be how much money I can make, because the business people who I meet who do amazing things. Like Bill Gates, who started Microsoft, they're usually people who are really interested in what they do, and they really think that it can make a difference in people's lives. If you want to go into government, you shouldn't just want to be a particular government official. You should want to go into government because you think it can help educate some children. Or it can help provide jobs for people who need work. So I think the most important thing for me was when I started thinking more about other people and how I could have an impact in my larger society and community, and wasn't just thinking about myself. That's when I think your dreams can really take off, because if you're only thinking about you, then your world is small. If you're thinking about others, then your world gets bigger. Thank you. Moderator Wu, thank you, Mr. President. We now have a question from the social media, which we've been collecting over the week. President Obama, okay. Question. President Obama, well, it's a great question. If you look at the biggest source of conflict and war and hardship around the world, one of the most, if not the most important reasons is people treating those who are not like them differently. So in Myanmar right now, they're going through a transition after decades of repressive government. They're trying to open things up and make the country more democratic. And that's a very courageous process that they're going through. But the danger, now that they're democratizing, is that there are different ethnic groups and different religions inside of Myanmar. And if people start organizing politically around their religious identity or around their ethnic identity as opposed to organizing around principles of justice and rule of law and democracy, then you can actually start seeing conflicts inside those countries that could move Myanmar in a very bad direction particularly. If you've got a Muslim minority inside of Myanmar right now that the broader population has historically looked down upon and whose rights are not fully being protected, now, that's not unique to Myanmar. Here in Malaysia, this is a majority Muslim country. But then, there are times where those who are non-Muslims find themselves perhaps being disadvantaged or experiencing hostility. In the United States, obviously historically the biggest conflicts arose around race. And we had to fight a civil war, and we had to have a civil rights movement over the course of generations until I could stand before you as a president of African descent. So my point is, all of us have within us biases and prejudices of people who are not. Like us, or were not raised in the same faith, or come from a different ethnic background. But the world is shrinking. It's getting smaller. You could think that way when we were. All living separately in villages and tribes, and we didn't have contact with each other. We now have the internet and smartphones, and our cultures are all colliding. The world has gotten smaller, and no country is going to succeed if part of its population is put on the sidelines because they're discriminated against. Malaysia won't succeed if non-Muslims don't have opportunity. So I think the key point for all of you, especially as young people, is you should embrace your culture. You should be proud of who you are and your background. And you should appreciate the differences in language and food. And how you worship God is going to be different, and those are things that you should be proud of. But it shouldn't be a tool to look down on somebody else. It shouldn't be a reason to discriminate. And you have to make sure that you are speaking out against that in your daily life. And as you emerge as leaders, you should be on the side of politics that brings people together rather than drives them apart. Almost every religion has within it the basic principle that I, as a Christian, understand from the teachings of Jesus. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Treat people the way you want to be treated. And if you're not doing that, and if society is not respecting that basic principle, then we're going backwards instead of going forward. And this is true all around the world. And sometimes, it's among groups that those of us on the outside, they look exactly the same. In Northern Ireland, there has been a raging conflict, although they have finally come to arrive. At peace because half or a portion of the population is Catholic, a portion is Protestant. From the outside, you look, why are they arguing? They're both Irish. They. Speak the same language. It seems as if they'd have nothing to argue about. But that's been a part of Ireland that has been held back and is poor. And less developed than the part of Ireland that didn't have that conflict. In Africa, you go to countries, my father's country of Kenya, where oftentimes you've seen tribal conflicts from the outside. You'd think, what are they arguing about? This is a country that has huge potential. They should be growing, but instead they spend all their time arguing. And organizing politically only around tribe and around ethnicity. And then, when one gets on top, they're suspicious and they're worried that the other might take advantage of them. And when power shifts, then it's payback. And we see that in society after society. The most important thing young people can do is break out of that mindset.